Gospel 1680 WOKB, your urban empowerment and inspiration station.
We are the pulse. Without a pulse, you're dead.
We are the heart and soul of the community. Gospel 1680 AM.
Welcome to another edition of Real Family Talk. Hello. Welcome to Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday evening. We're having lovely weather here in the beautiful city. We had a few days of rain, but the rain is gone, and now the city beautiful is back to cool weather, nice days, 80-something days. Can't beat an 80-something day. I'll take an 80-something in the day, any day, all day. Good times though, but let's go ahead, man. We're gonna get into it tonight. Obviously, the world has been taken back by the events that have been going on in Baltimore. The riots themselves aren't new. We had some of the riots when we had Ferguson go down, but the extent of what they're doing in Baltimore seems a little bit on of a different playing field than what we saw in Ferguson. And so that's what we're going to discuss tonight. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680. I'd love to hear your thoughts, what you think about what's happening in Baltimore, just the epidemic that we seem to be in right now as it relates to young men being somehow dying at the hands of the police. So let me go ahead and welcome everybody in the building. Though first, we got Mr. King's in the building. How you doing, sir?
My brother. We got a lot to talk about today.
Yes, we do.
We're going to get it all in the air tonight, my friend.
All righty. Joining us tonight from Community Bonding, we have Brother E, man. He's here as well. How you doing, sir?
Thank you, sir. Good to be here.
Oh, we appreciate it. And Jeremy will be here too. He'll be here in the building soon. But in the moment, man, let's go ahead and get into it. So obviously what happened in in Baltimore, a young man by the name of Freddie Gray, he died due to, we know how he died. His neck was broken, and basically once his neck was broken, he was not able to sustain himself from those injuries. But what's in question is how did a young man who, according to the police account, essentially never fought back from the arrest. But he got arrested, put into a van or a car or something with the police, and after he exited that vehicle, he now had a broken neck, and then eventually died from those injuries. So he was recently buried on Monday, I believe, if I remember right. And then after that, it basically all hell broke loose in the city of Baltimore. They essentially burnt the city down, or at least a lot of it anyway. Protesting got out of hand. They were throwing rocks at the cops, and just crazy times. I even know I was talking to my wife. She has a friend that lives in Baltimore who has a cousin that was a police officer up there, and her cousin was actually my wife's friend's cousin was actually one of the officers who got hit in the head with a rock.
Wow. And
had to go to the hospital. So kind of hit home a little bit, not me personally, but at least someone that my wife is familiar with. But so, all hell's breaking loose. So, here we are again.
He got hit with a rock?
It was actually a female, but yeah, she got hit with a rock.
She got hit with a rock?
Yeah, got hit with a rock, had to go to the hospital.
At a riot? She's a police officer, though. That's what you sign up to do. What you don't sign up to do is get your neck broke in the back seat. So my whole thing is, if you're there, you know what you're prepared to do. So not saying that I don't feel no type of way about it because she is a human, but you there and you know what you're there to do.
But if I heard you correctly, you say the police officer signed up to get hit with a rock.
No.
Okay.
I didn't say she got signed up to hit. You signed up for whatever happens.
Oh, okay.
But it's a female and it's a human, and you're still not supposed to get hit with a rock. But at the same time, you there in a riot situation. That's what happens.
True. I mean, things can happen.
Things do happen.
But it's still unfortunate that we got to that point, one. And then two, I don't think any police officer, quote unquote, signed up to have to show up at a riot and then potentially get hit with a rock. I mean, that's not what you sign up on the job for. You sign up on the job to try and help protect your city, help protect the individuals of whatever beat you're on. But certainly, you know, in a perfect world, let's just say this. You know, you're not gonna get hit with a rock. You're not gonna get shot or.
It's
anything
not
like
riot
that.
control though. I'm sure they have riot control units. I'm thinking that.
But I asked this question: if the police officer, if you're right, they signed up to be there to protect and serve. But can I ask the question: if the people that's throwing the rocks, if the police retaliate against them, are the police right? Because if you're out causing a riot and the police are there and they're there because they have to be there, if they retaliate against those that's throwing rocks, does that make the police right?
That makes it you shouldn't have been throwing rocks. So if you throw rocks and then you got tased and you got shot, you went to jail, whatever happened was supposed to happen to you because you was throwing rocks.
So it's a free fall out there.
Well, it's not a free fall, but it's an action, cause and effect type thing. If the reason that they're rioting because a brother got his neck broke in the back seat. Now, and the reason she was out there is because they were rioting. Now, whoever was throwing the rocks, the reason they went to jail or the reason they got shot, the reason they got tased, it's all cause and effect. So if the brother went and got his neck broke, she wouldn't have been out there. They wouldn't have been throwing rocks. It wouldn't have been a riot. Not saying that the riot is correct, but I understand. Because like you say, it hit home. With us, it hasn't hit home. If it would have been your family member that would have been in that back seat that got their neck broken, things to that nature, we understand because, like you said, it didn't hit you home, but it hit your wife. Your wife understands. Your wife feels a certain way because she knows that person. We're not thinking about the people that know the young man that got his neck broken for no reason in the back seat of a police car. We're not thinking about them because we're thinking about the riot.
But here's my question, because one of the problems that I have with I think they're wrong to riot. I get protesting, you know, as long as it's peaceable. The rioting always puzzles me, because when we riot, we typically are only rioting in our own neighborhoods. Number one, so we're only going down the street to the corner store that you typically went to probably every day. From what they say, these were young people, so I'm going to say at least half of them probably smoke marijuana. So it's the corner store you went to every day to buy some blunts.
That's prejudice, brother. No, we cannot. Please, we're going to retract that statement. Real family talk does not think that about everybody.
But I'm saying you visited that store every day. You might have, you know, maybe it was the liquor store, maybe, that you go to every day to get your beer or whatever. But these are places that people that you know. You know what I'm saying? And so you go down, you ride. I even heard we were watching a story just before we went on air that there was a pastor who had buildings where he said that they said they care for the homeless in his buildings, right? And they went and attacked this man's buildings, burned them down. So now the homeless shelters that he had created are no longer of anybody use to anybody because they're burnt down. So that to me is always the puzzling thing about riot, because we're only destroying our own neighborhoods. And so how are you, if you will, protesting, or what purpose are you serving when you're only destroying the neighborhood that you live in order to protest actions of cops that you don't like? I mean, where is the connection? I just don't get that.
I'm not for sure. I have no proof of what I'm going to say. But that doesn't sound like something we would do. I've seen a lot of different imagery where there's been a lot of propaganda where people will want to knock down. It's been a lot of movies. Let's take a movie for an example where they want to knock down this particular building, so we'll knock it down and we'll say it was somebody else. During this time, anybody can go over there and do that, and we're going to blame it on the rioters. Why would the rioters go to a homeless shelter? That doesn't make any sense unless it's, I just don't believe that. I believe that's propaganda. And any reporter can go out there and just report that. It's no proof that, it was riot. Because a riot was going on, the rioters went to the homeless shelter and burnt the homeless shelter. I personally don't believe that.
Well, I think that, we're focusing on an individual building. I think you're focused on the whole thing as a whole. Right. The whole thing as a whole is sad. Regardless if it was, you're right. That when I always stand out when people say anything is possible. You're absolutely correct. But as a whole, and I share the same sentiment. My thing is, that's equivalent to me getting upset. Somebody's doing something miles away, and it happens, and then I go outside and beat up my car. Again, rioting, how are we fixing this problem by tearing up stuff? Because it's equivalent to, that's just why what people look at and say, my God, they look like animals in a cage.
Yeah.
They look like animals in a cage. And that's why our media, they when this stuff is getting ready to go down, they bring all these cameras out and they put it in our area because let them black folk, they finna tear the city up.
Right.
And that sells because nobody wants to see us walking down the street saying we shall overcome. They don't want to see that because that does not sell. They want to see us burning the building, running and loot. Why do we, in Ferguson, they broke into the wig shop.
See, I can understand the wig shop more than I can understand the homeless shelter. But my thing is this. America was built on that. That is what America is. They don't show when they go overseas and bomb all these countries. They don't show when they went overseas and take over all of these third world countries doing the exact same thing. And that is how America was built. That's its foundation on war. Right now, there's just a civil war on black males. And, you know, I completely agree that the riot shouldn't be going on because, in my opinion, that just enforces martial law and what they're calling right now a curfew. But that's why I completely disagree with the riots. But like I say, I understand. Not saying that I agree, because I don't want you to think that any of my statements mean, well, I agree with what they're doing. No, I do not agree, because I feel that this type of activity will cause them and give them a reason to make us a police state, to give them a reason to implement martial law. So I completely disagree with the riots, but then again, I understand.
Yeah, okay. Some of the things that happen, because one of the stories that are going out there now, going back to the mayor, which is interesting. Baltimore, a city with a black mayor, a city that has a black police commissioner, and I believe they also have a black district attorney as well. And at least most of the city council, I know they're all Democrats, but I bet you at least half of them, if not more, are also black. So it's interesting that in this city that is, you know, for all intents and purposes, has a lot of black people in control, we'll say. Mm-hmm. A lot of black people influencing the policies, and a lot of black people, I believe they say even almost 50% of the police force is also black.
Black.
I mean, so you got a city that has major control, or at least people who have major parts in the city, you know, controlled by black people, but yet they have tons of problem with policing the black neighborhoods because there seems to be just a consistent amount. I was listening to a reporter today. He talked about over in the last few years, the city of Baltimore has settled over about $6 million worth of civil cases on the police department. Related to the police department and, you know, different issues that people have with the police department. So, I mean, that's a lot of money for a city that somehow can't get it together with the black residents, although the people in control are black.
Well, I think
what's the connection? Like, what's missing here?
Well, it goes back to this right here. I think we got to look at, I always say this, when you tell the truth, tell the whole truth. Our people are not the easiest people to deal with. Let's just call it what it is. We're not the easiest people to deal with. By nature, we're confrontational.
Amen.
We're confrontational. By nature, we don't like rules and regulations. And if you don't believe me, go in some of these homes and you can see he's 8, 9, 10 years old and mom and daddy can't tell him nothing. Oh, let me go back. Mom can't tell him nothing. Dad can't tell him nothing. So by nature, we're confrontational. So now you're going to tell the police to go into these neighborhoods and exhort their power or their authority, and we're not having it. You know, we just, by nature, we're just confrontational, and if you say something to us, we'll go off. Right. If you don't do what we want you to do, we'll go off. And that's just our nature. We'll go off. Sometimes we go off and don't know what we're going off for.
We got a caller. How you doing tonight, Jimmy Shine?
Brother J. Real, what's up? What's up?
What's going on, man? What's going on? What's
Brother Jimmy's back in the building.
Let me tell you something. Who is that? My brother from Community Bonding.
Brother E, Brother Sean, how you doing, sir?
Brother E, man, you like you shot out of a cannon, man. You came out of this chute wide open. Well, it's good to talk to everybody again. I'm glad you're still around. Can I say a special thank you to somebody at WOKB?
Okay.
I want to say thank you to Shante Prasad, the general manager of WOKB. Shante joined my Facebook page last week, and I was very happy about that because I know Shantae's a very private person. And it took a lot of guts to join Jimmy Shine's Facebook page. Because boy, I can tell you my story.
What's up? What's your comment though, Jimmy Shine?
Okay. Well, this thing. Let's take the story from the beginning. We were told that high school students started this. High school students. Are you trying to get me to believe that high school students overran the entire Baltimore Police Department, went out in the street, picked up rocks and bricks, and I guess rocks and bricks in Philadelphia and in Baltimore is everywhere. Picked up rocks and bricks and overpowered the Baltimore Police Department. They had to go call the National Guard. Is that what they expect us to believe?
That's what they're telling us.
That's what they feeding us. That's what they're saying. That's why I'm telling you. I think it's a lot of propaganda for them to make us a police state.
You may have something there because I'm sorry, but I just don't believe that story, and that's the official story. That the Boston Police Department was overpowered by this handful of high school students who, after school, they say, "Hey, man, I ain't got nothing to do. Let's go start a riot." And I just find that story unbelievable.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. You got any other comments about it, Jimmy?
Beware of Operation Jade Helm 15 that is going to start on July the 15th, a military operation in which we are told that military soldiers are going to be taking exercises right here in Florida. In some places, they're going to do door-to-door gun confiscations. Door-to-door gun confiscations. Imagine this. Somebody knocking your door. What? It's the military. Open the door. Man, I ain't opening no door. I don't know. You might be. The next thing you know, your door comes flying off the hinge because they kicked it in. Jade Helm 15 is coming up in July 15th. Look into it. Beware of it.
All right, man. We appreciate it, Jimmy.
Okay, take care now.
Thank you. Yeah, I know Mr. King. Mr. King actually posted about that Jade Hell 15 there.
And that's why I was trying to listen to Brother Shine, because he was saying everything that I wanted to talk about. It's okay,
hey,
Jimmy.
You like a miniature Jimmy Shine.
I mean, I'm not going to, I look up to that brother. That brother has a lot of knowledge,
yes,
as you can
does.
see.
Yes,
He has a lot to say, as you can see also. Jimmy, you can call back whenever you feel.
407-894-1680 is the number, 407-894. So one of the things they said in relation to the police's delayed response to some of the initial reactions, there's a story that says the mayor actually told the police department to hold back, and I don't know how long she expected for them to hold back, but from some extended period of time, she asked them to hold back before they intervened in this situation, which to me, I guess maybe, I don't know if this is because she's black. She figured, well, if I just give them a few minutes to do what they need to do, they'll get it out their system and stop. I don't know if that was her thought process, but it just seems like a dangerous proposition to just let people go wild and crazy for any extended period of time. And then, they'll stop, hopefully.
I think that I agree with you. I listened to the president this morning on the Steve Harvey show, and he made some poignant statements as it relates to Baltimore. But just to go back to what she did, I don't understand that, because it's like a snowball. When you start letting that snowball go downhill, it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger. But her approach was, let it get them out of the system. And I don't know. I won't question her because she is the lady in charge. But I question that. But go back to the way you laid it out was perfect. You said that he was arrested, and if you know anything about arrest, they put him in the back seat, and we're going to assume that he was handcuffed. And he was transported, and all of a sudden he comes with a broken neck. I mean, that alone. And, I've been in law enforcement for years, and I'm still bewildered by how in the world can that happen. Because if you put him in the back seat, he's isolated from the police because the back seat comes with the cage.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how, you know what I'm saying? How did that happen?
There's a story there, Brother E, out there.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's called. They have a name for it, but there's a story that Baltimore Police Department has has a gosh, there's a name for it, but basically the point is
They have a method.
They have a method.
That's
They
what they
put
call
people in
punishing.
the van.
Yeah.
They don't put seatbelts on them.
Yeah.
And then they drive around. They say,
Cut the corner kind of hard. No.
and things happen. Again, I wish I could remember what they called it, but
When you slam on the brakes and the head hit the back of the
right.
that's
I mean, I don't know.
practice.
Again, I don't know if that's true, but that's the story that one of the stories that they're selling anyway.
Well, I shared a story with you. I was in years ago. Hurricane Katrina struck over in New Orleans and Mississippi, or Waving, Mississippi, and I was there for 15 days. And I remember we was there to help out. You know, we were going to help out. And I remember around with this police officer from Bay St. Louis, and it was a call. They had a curfew, as my brother right here, he said, it's this martial law curfew here makes everybody go in the house at a certain time. One guy got caught outside the curfew, J. Real. And I remember distinctively, if I close my eyes right now, I can relive that moment. That officer told me, I'm going to make him pay at the pump. Now, I'm from the city of Orlando.
Yeah.
I don't know what paying at the pump literally means, paying at the pump.
Yeah.
So I'm riding, and if God my witness, I'm just riding in the car. And when we got there, he's finna pay at the pump. Again, totally innocent. I get out the car, and I look. And he made that dude pay. I mean, he just, and wow. And me being from Orlando, Florida, I'm up in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it was dark because there was no power.
Right.
They beat that. Now, he was white.
Mhm.
He was white. And they beat that dude so bad. And I'm standing, when the dude got back in the car, and I honestly, that guy told me, hey, man, that's how y'all do it down in Orlando? I said, no. In Orlando, we get indicted for that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that little shenanigans that they do with,
Nickel rise, that's what they call it.
right, that's something that's a common practice.
Yeah.
That's a common practice. Especially when you get one in the back of your car and he's going off the edge and he's being belligerent and all those types of things.
Right.
Slam on the brakes. Because if he's handcuffed, he can't brace himself.
Mhm.
And boom.
Mm.
So, but again, that wouldn't have broke his neck, though.
No, yeah.
I just
I guess it
believe
depends on
something
how rough a ride it was, but I mean,
But in order to break his neck, though, I mean, I like to look at stuff, break it down. In order to break his neck, you had to be driving so fast to the force had to. And if
Yeah.
that force would have been that hard, the airbag should have came out the car, so you'd end up hit. So I want to believe that something happened prior to him. Now, breaking his neck, and then whatever that thing you call it, what you call it?
nickel rise.
nickel
they
rise.
call
Yeah,
it.
him. That could have just been added to cause more damage.
Mhm.
But I want to believe something else happened prior to him being whatever you call it. I just believe that, and I just believe that. And again, I take up for law enforcement. I take up for them to the end when they're right. In this case, in the case where the South Carolina case, they were dead wrong.
Right, definitely wrong.
They were
I mean,
right. They were dead wrong, and I think justice needs to be served
Yeah.
because again, that was a shame. And I'm talking about Baltimore. I ain't talking about South Carolina. That was just cut and dry. That over there. But Baltimore, that was a shame. That was a
Right.
shame because as a law enforcement officer, you're still governed. No matter how mad you get, you're still governed by policies and procedures. And I should be trained to control myself. With you cussing me out, doing everything in the world to me,
Right.
I should be trained to control myself.
But I think what I think it was actually, well, obviously what it is where, you know, just like every job you go to, you start getting away with little stuff, you get comfortable.
mhm.
You know, if you work at Target or whatever, and you used to break 15 minutes, but you take 45 and nobody say nothing to you. That's just common practice, and you get comfortable. And they never got in trouble for it. You know, it's one of them things. How far up the ladder goes that they know, you know, who knows? But obviously they wouldn't get disciplined for it. So this is what we do. Like you got the guy say, pay at the pump. Oh, this is what we do. You know, so it's crazy.
Yeah, I was listening to, I was listening to an interview with Montel Williams the other day, and he made an interesting statement about maybe some of the things that, you know, he talking about police officers and maybe and reasonings why some things like this happen. One of the, you know, just speculating. Obviously, these officers go to these neighborhoods. We're assuming, you know, the same officers go to the same neighborhoods every day. Obviously, as you said, if they're going to these black neighborhoods, sometimes some of the people they encounter are going to be very aggressive. And so you get to a point where obviously, just like any job, when you go into your job every day, you go in the job, maybe you're happy and you're there to help, and then you get there to help, and then everybody's looking at you like you wrong for showing up to help. You know, and so you get that pushback, and so that happens on day 1, day 2. You're in the job, you know, 6 months in. That's your day, every day, and so you just kind of get to that point, and one of these days, maybe you you kind of lose it a little bit, which I think everybody kind of loses it, in their own way in their job. But obviously, unfortunately for you, when you're as a police officer, when you lose it, somebody might get hurt.
Yeah, you're right.
And so I mean, the consequences are just a lot more different. But one of the things that he sort of proposed, he said, maybe what they should try, and something he's thought about. He said maybe they ought to not let police officers be out there for so long. So maybe they're on that beat a month or 2 months or whatever, and then after 1 or 2 months, maybe they take 30 days off, and maybe they're on the desk duty, or they're doing something else. They're not in that neighborhood confronting those people with that aggravation every day. They're kind of taking a break from it, so that you're just you kind of get time to relax and go back to whatever is maybe your normal self. What do you think about that idea? You think? I mean, I think it sounds good on paper. It's one of those things that sounds good on paper, but I mean, also it also, but there seems to be something in there too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I suggest this to you. Mind you, there are not a lot of police officers. Let's just call it what it is. We're not a lot of police officers. People, I tell people all the time oh man, I got 3 or 4 police officers on a traffic stop. That don't make no sense. Well, understand something. I know in Orange County for a fact, on the midnight shift, Orange Blossom Trail, all the way down to Osceola County, you might not have a 12 police officer policing that whole area. What people buy into is that on a traffic stop, you get 2 police officers, but the lights are going. You got all these lights, all of that sensation, makes it, oh man, but when you turn the lights off, it ain't but 2 police officers out there. So when you start telling me that, officers taking a break, and it sounds good. I was listening, I never thought about that. It sounds good. But my thing is, while they're taking a break, who's going to be out protecting and serving? Right. And I ask you this, and because you're a very deep, analytical brother, I asked the question, we need to start thinking about what's going through an officer's mind going into this riot situation. I know my brother said that you sign up to be out there for the riot. So if you got hit with a rock, it's part of the job.
Right.
But my thing is, what's the mindset? Because understand something right now. If somebody in this radio station starts shooting downstairs, what's our mindset?
Getting out.
Right. By any means necessary.
Right.
Well, as a police officer, I think sometimes people, when you become a police officer, all of a sudden you become Superman. I must remind everybody that police officer is still human.
Right.
If you show me a police officer, I'm not scared of anything, I can show you a police officer who's a fool. Because that badge does you no good.
Right.
So when you start going in, I would like to sit down and talk to somebody about, let's look at officers' mindset going into, hey, you just got the call. They're rioting downtown. And we need you to go down there and stand in that riot where they're throwing rocks, they're shooting and I want you to stand there with a shield.
Right.
And I want you to protect and serve. And in the back of your mind, I'm afraid because I don't want to get hit with a rock. I know it's part of my job. I don't want to get hit with a rock. I don't want to get shot.
Right.
And again, I tell people all the time, listen, man, I'm a person first.
Right.
When we was in high school,
Yeah.
and back in high school, they used to have when West Orange and Winter Garden used to fight. Man, I wasn't part of none of that stuff. Right. But I told myself, man, somebody run up on me, I'm going to protect myself.
Protect yourself, right. Exactly. That's what you do.
That's what these officers go through, man.
Yeah. But why we don't get treated like we are people first? Because once we're treated like a criminal immediately.
I suggest this to you. Log on and pull up. I'm going to show you why they don't treat you like your people. Because you act like animals.
So that's why you go into it where animals at, and that's what happens.
I think too. Well, I think it goes back to that approach. One of the things people talk about. How did you approach those cops? Now, does that mean if you approach the cops correctly in every situation, you're going to be treated respectfully? No, it doesn't. Because obviously there's some bad cops in the world.
Yes, there are.
And so if he's really out to get you, then he's going to get you regardless of how you approach him. But I think when you're talking about the majority of cops, because we always say, basically we're rioting because 6 cops did a bad thing, but I don't know how many people on the police force, but let's say there's another 400 people on that police force. So 394 of them did the right thing, but that's who we're rioting against, because the 6 that did the bad thing are probably not out in the streets no more.
But that's what they do.
And so
they consider all of us animals, or now look how y'all look because of Baltimore. It's 50 states. And I don't know how many cities, but because Baltimore, that's how we look. Well, so that's how it goes. Don't give me one thing, but then can't take the other. That makes no sense.
You just suggested that all cops are bad because of what they do in Baltimore.
No, I never said all cops are bad.
So there are some good cops.
I'm looking at one right now.
Right. But I actually, so my thing is this right here. Do I have a bad day?
I hope not.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I have because I'm human.
But hey, man, like,
Man is born of a woman.
any job I go to, they tell you once you come through them double doors, whatever you had outside them double doors, you leave it at them double doors.
Now my question
and that
is,
goes,
every job
every
say that.
job so that goes double for the police.
but
but-
do you leave it at them double doors though?
Hey, I didn't say that what we
There
do.
you go.
So there you go. Right. Exactly. Hey, you said it right.
I didn't say what we do. I'm
Hey,
telling you what they tell us to do.
Yeah, see, I'll say you one thing, and it's just getting older, a blessed thing. Like you becoming in law enforcement. We got a handful of guys who went to high school with all in law enforcement. And it's a good thing because now I know y'all, and I know y'all good dudes, so it just changed your whole perspective. So now I empathize. Like you say, life is on the line here. So I can't imagine. Y'all watch the news just like we watch the news. I was living in Tennessee for a while. Guy comes into a traffic stop. State trooper, hey, they was speeding. He just go to pull over, walks into the car, boom, gone. Yeah. He don't know them people in there moving weight, and they scared to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you thinking about that and that mindset, not only am I coming with my gun pulled, I got my taser out. I mean, y'all better than me because I'm telling you, I'll be the one, hey, man, I thought he was finna kill me, man. What you want me to do?
Well, let me just say this right. J-Real, Channel 9 did the Sheriff's Office has this big simulator now. And this would be something I wish I can take him to. It's a big simulator. It's a shoot, don't shoot. And what happened, they took one of the reporters there and said, hey, listen, man, go through it. And what they do is they take this piece, they put it on the back of your pants. And if you get shocked, if hit, it shocks you. And when I say it hurts.
Right.
Equivalent to a gunshot. So they put it on and you go through these scenarios. And it takes you one time to
Right.
get
Next
now,
thing you know,
all of a
everything
sudden
coming.
you going through and I'm not gonna call his name, but all of a sudden he's shooting up everything. And we're sitting back saying, man, you don't supposed to. Well, I thought he was pulling because only thing registered to him, if I let him get a shot off, it hurt.
Right.
It changed his whole, because they let you go through first without putting the thing on. It's like now, but now that traffic stop, the dude jumps out and he's shooting, and now you got all this pain. Now you got to go through this thing again, and it changed his whole perspective because now he go walking, got his hands on his hip, on his gun. The dude pulled over, and it's one of the situations where the dude pulls over, and the dude steps out the car, and he looks, bam. Why did you shoot him? Well, I know because he could have. Law enforcement always has a split second to make a life-changing decision.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But this brother was in handcuffs in the back seat of a car.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's
the brother.
right.
Now I understand, man. That's if not the hardest job, that probably is the hardest job to do.
Is.
But when you in handcuffs, the man in the cell, and you come in there and knee the man in the stomach, you in handcuffs and the brother end up with his neck broken. What? That just
I answer that question like this: they were wrong.
point exactly.
Right. So we can really, it's not being a hot time. And
But,
that guy,
but they're getting off. That's
no.
been the
in
problem.
OPD, those guys were arrested. That's why the news don't want to promote that because then all of a sudden it'll show that man, cops do go to jail when they do wrong. They don't want to promote that kind of stuff.
The brother wasn't black, first of all. That's just my opinion. I'm talking about the black brothers that's getting killed across the world, and these brothers are getting indicted. These brothers are getting off. We was talking about what was the dude name and he I forgot
The one
the
that got
officer
shot
name.
up 120 times.
There you go.
Breedlove, right. And again, they were wrong, but they
got off. And that is the problem that we're having, that no justice is being served. And so as animals,
Well, keep in mind South Carolina now.
We can call us animals,
Yeah.
but we're all homo sapiens. So we're technically all animals. And in nature, which is what we are in, now though we may be civilized and we may be Americanized and Western civilized, whatever you want to call it, we're all animals, technically. And any nature comes out of you in situations. Take as when you're a police officer, nature, man, I don't know what's going to happen, so let me have my gun ready. But that's just human nature. Once we get tired of something, you're going to stand up for you can go to a job, that boss get on your nerves, you can just take it for 2 years. It just take one time on a bad day, you going to snap. And finally, Not saying that they're right, but finally it's snapping that, you know what, man, it might have been the 6 that time and the other 400, but what about the time before that and the time before that? This has been going on for generations. This ain't the first year that this been happening. This been going on back when they were saying we're going to protest peacefully. When Martin was alive, they were still doing the exact same thing. The exact same thing.
So what do you suggest?
Cut my mic off on that one because I don't want to comment on what I suggest. I feel that if they took the riots to the other neighborhoods, you have to hit them in the pocket. Once you hit City Hall, once you hit their neighborhoods, once you hit the financial system, once you hit something to that nature, that is when the riots will help. Now, are there other ways besides rioting? Yeah, man, you know, we can start our own culture, and then we can move up out this thing, and we can claim what we're supposed to really be doing, turn in the birth certificate, get our money. That's the real way to do it.
J. Real, I asked this question, and I'm going to ask you this question because you're a deep brother. I said, well, maybe in the black neighborhoods, we need to eliminate the police and just police ourselves. Let's just move them out of the way. You think that'll work?
Unfortunately, you know, I don't think it'll work.
Why?
Because I don't think we'll respect ourselves any more than we respect the police.
Because
I would ultimately it's about control. I don't want to be controlled, you know, because the individuals that are doing dirt in the neighborhood, their whole point is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to be controlled by the police. They don't want to be told by, you know, the old lady that lives on the block that they used to raise them when they were younger, but now that they older, they don't want her telling them that, you know what I mean, baby, don't be selling them stuff to them people. Right. They don't want to be controlled, and that's what we're talking about. Because as they see it, it's a mindset really at the end of the day. They're not educated enough to know that there is a way other than what they're doing to be able to get out of where they're going. And so because they don't see that, they sit on the sidelines and they do what they do.
So, again.
You finna say something, Jeremy?
No, I was going to say, and as far as policing ourselves, if we tried it maybe 20 years ago, maybe, but now I think it's just too late because, and you know, and I bet our parents said the same thing. This generation don't respect nothing. And our parents probably said the same thing about us, but it's like another level now. You know, it's I don't even know. You know, it's like I can imagine what you see. I know what I see, but I can imagine what you see because you see a little way more than what we gonna ever see.
Well, sure. We got a caller. How you doing tonight, Crystal?
Hello. How are you?
We're doing all right. What's your comment tonight?
I guess I was kind of confused about the comment about control because, I mean, the whole thing about policing ourselves can be plausible because Jewish communities do it themselves. I mean, I feel like it's not about respecting authority. It's about knowing that there is a camaraderie about it, that you're looking out for my neighborhood and you're also looking out for me. Most of the time, it's not that way. You see these people here, you know that you're living in a system that doesn't really want to help you propel yourself in life, and so you do turn to drugs. You turn to systems outside of the law because you don't have any way to work it inside of the law. So, for me, it's kind of like it's a lose-lose situation, and people are just trying to make the best out of it. There's a lot of ways that it can be fixed, and a lot of people need to start working on it because I heard President Obama talking about it on the news today. It's not only about the police force, but it's about changing the people in the law system. It's about changing school systems. We have to build everything from the ground up because it's been built to exclude us. So something's got to change. We got to change it. We can't look to nobody else.
Let me ask you this. Just give me one example of change you think would be positive.
Changes that it can be positive. I know that I want to start a school, and I know that I want to do traveling lectures to teach us about our African past so that we know that we came from something and that we don't, because that's the first thing that they did.
So education.
To me, like, that's where I want to do it. I want to do it from education. But we also need more black faces in law enforcement. We also need more black faces in politics and in law. We need to have representation so that our issues are heard. But us going out there and rioting, we're fighting against a system that is designed to keep us down. We're always going to look like the bad guys.
Right. All right. We appreciate that, Crystal. Thank you.
No problem. Have a great one.
You too. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, that's just like going back when we were talking about with Ferguson. it's really misguided. I heard Jamie Foxx say yesterday on he was on Steve Harvey, and he said that we failed our youth because we never educated them as far as how to protest or how to really fight against the system. So and then especially like they said, it's a lot of young people. They angry, they're frustrated, they don't have nothing, they don't know what to do. And I mean,
all they know is anger.
With Baltimore too, unfortunately, a lot of them kids not in school. They don't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they don't know what to do. And it has to be just like Brother King say. The protest it has to be economic. That's all they understand is money.
That's all they understand.
You hit them in the pockets, things change. That's why, to me, the greatest protest that came out of the civil rights movement, the greatest example, I should say, is the Montgomery bus boycott. The greatest one.
Right. That's the one that hit him in the pocket.
Okay, we're not riding the bus no more. They like, y'all sitting when we tell you, said, okay, we just won't ride the bus no more. After a while, they be like, okay, we going to hold out. We held out. And after a while, like, man, we losing too much money. Now, come on, you sit where you want to sit. You understand? So it's like, it has to be economic. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do, but it has to be economic.
It was a movie Fight Club. In Fight Club, what they did, they went and blew up the building that had all the records so they can take it back. I forgot the exact story, but that was the whole point of Fight Club, starting from scratch. And as Miss Crystal said, we got to start with educating our youth, because now all they know is anger. They know they're upset, but they don't know how and where to channel that anger to. So what they do, they hit something. Because that's the first thing you know. The first thing when you come out the womb, the first thing that happens is what? You get hit.
Well, you had said something about, there was a comment online that said Jewish people do it, but I think again, when you're talking about Jewish people also work together to achieve economic goals.
No, we're not doing that.
And we can't do that either.
That's what we got.
And when you say the Jewish people, that's a generational thing.
We got to teach
It's something
them.
they never stopped doing.
We have to teach them.
So it's like nothing new. So like you said, it has to start, and it's going to be hard. Like I said, I guess you're really going to have to start with education, because you got to grab the little ones and put it in them.
You're asking now, what you're saying is you're asking parents to be parents.
To be parents.
So again, it falls back on us.
Right.
On us, yep.
The first teacher you ever see is your mom and your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this, and I get spiritual. They always talk about this Black Lives Matter, this Black Lives Matter. Well, we all were fearfully and wonderfully made. Therefore, all lives matter.
Yeah.
It's not just black lives. All lives matter. The first teachers that you ever see, again, when we was in school, your mom, they didn't play that.
Nope.
They would get up in your face.
Right.
But now, back then, teachers were teachers. Now, teachers also my girlfriend when school is out, because she's 22, 23, because that old school teachers are gone now.
Yeah. Right.
They're gone now.
They don't have that same authoritative presence.
And when I was when my mom and dad said something, you did it, whether it was right or wrong.
Right.
That transcends. Now, so when the police say something,
You
it's
do it.
okay. You do it. Fighting the police on the street is not. You're not going to win out there. You take them to court. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to do. If you get a speeding ticket, out there screaming and yelling at the police officer does you no good.
Oh no, now that I know.
Right.
You're right about that.
Right. Does you no good.
It's kind of like, what? I'm not even going to argue. You write it, I sign it, I'll take it to the judge. Right? I ain't got nothing to say to you.
I got stopped the other night. I done told my secret. I got stopped the other night, and I was wrong. I was riding. I was riding, man. Police pulled me over, and I don't just preach this thing.
Yeah.
Let me live it. So I got afraid. Now, mind you, I'm the police.
Right.
Had a gun on me.
That's why you were scared, though.
Hey, and I'll outrank, the sad thing about it, I'll outrank the person that stopped me.
Right.
But let me see how this goes. He walked up to our driver's license registration. And normally what we do, Jimmy, is, well, what you stop me for?
Right.
That's just us.
Right.
So I said, what do you stop me for? He said, driver's license registration, and I'll tell you at the end. Well, in our culture, we get upset because when I ask you a question, I want to know why you stopped me.
Right.
Because most black people already know. First, they know they was wrong.
Yeah.
They just want the police officer to tell them.
Right.
So he ran in and came back, and now, mind you, he know why he stopped me. I know why he stopped me. And he said, "Listen, man, you were going too fast." He said, "Be safe." Now, granted, that was it.
Yeah.
I said, "All right, man, thanks." Now, the confusion part about it was when I gave him, I don't know whether or not he found out that I was the police. Maybe that changed his.
You know he found out.
But my thing is, how could he have found out?
Because y'all got stars next to y'all name, man.
Well, everybody, no, that's not true. See,
everybody got what?
No, I thought you were talking about the star that they put on the card.
Oh.
No, but next to my name, no. So I can't say, but I will say this, that, and I can go back to my experience. I done pulled people over, and my thing is, take your ticket. If you're nice, you're probably gonna get out of it. But oh my God, sir, I got to go because I got to use the bathroom. Well, let me hurry up and write you this ticket so you can get to the bathroom.
So you go.
or you'll get the lady who wants to show you this or show you that.
Yeah.
Most people that I wrote tickets to were the people that say, officer, listen, man, trying to get home. I'm tired. All right, man, listen, drive safe. It's all about it. Better yet, you treat me how you want to be treated.
Right. Yeah.
Simple as that.
Well, I got pulled over on a scooter for having an expired tag.
You were wrong.
I was wrong, and I know I was wrong, but I got that personality. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to make you laugh. That's what Richard Pryor said. So I'm talking to the officer, and he asking me why and this. And then I'm just answering the questions that he's asking me. He hit me with the, why are you being argumentative? I shut up after that. Oh, my bad. Well, let me shut on up then, because obviously I'm saying something that you don't want to hear. And I shut up after that. Then the other lady cop came, and me and her just had a hoot, laughing and talking. Still got a ticket. But, they let me drive off, which they probably shouldn't have did. They probably should have told me. And then my license was suspended. So, they probably should have did a lot more than they did because I made them laugh, and I didn't act like I could have acted. They probably was a little more lenient. But still, he hit me with the why you being argumentative. I think he was trying to test me, just to try to get me to jump. That's how I felt. Now, was I wrong for feeling that way? Because if you're asking me questions and I'm just giving you simple answers, my bad, or I forgot, or, well, no, because it's a scooter and it's 49 cc's, and I'm explaining to him about scooters, he telling me I'm being argumentative after I'm telling you what you asking me. Now, how was that the case?
Well, let me ask you a question. Did you tell him thank you when it was all over?
No, he said, bro. That just shut me off from him. He was like, all right, bro.
But my question to you, did you tell that man?
No.
You didn't
after
tell him
he called me bro.
But after he didn't take you, because if it had been me, you'd have been gone.
Our brother.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
I'd have took you to jail all day long because were you wrong?
I ain't got nothing to say right.
Right. You were wrong. So my thing, regardless of what he said to you, at the end you should say, hey man, thank you.
Well, I told her that.
No. He pulled you over.
You're right.
Yeah.
But did you tell him thank you?
No, I ain't tell him thank you.
But he blessed you. He was a blessing to you.
Yeah.
I guess so. I guess because I was his bro that
That's
night.
why I took you to jail, because y'all ain't.
now I'm a y'all.
Hey, I would say this. I've said thank you to every cop that didn't give me a ticket. Bless. I've only had one speed ticket in my life, and I was wrong.
I probably did say I appreciate that, because I know my personality. When it comes to the police, man, I'm a whole different. I'm not a coon. But I'm gonna make you like, man, you shine them shoes, huh? I'm gonna say something to try to get out that ticket.
I'm gonna share a real story. I'm a homicide detective.
Mm-hmm.
The saddest thing about my job, man, is they call you 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they're detective. We got A, B, and C, and he black, yeah. Next ask is how many witnesses? It's probably about 20. All right. Now the next question is how many gonna talk? Man, I done been on plenty scenes where I had one dude, he was standing next to him. Man, I ain't see nothing.
Standing next to the dude.
Standing next to the dude. I almost got shot. I ain't see nothing.
You know what? And it's for you say that, because I was actually thinking about this earlier. We get upset as a community, and we say, okay, the police did XYZ to this man. Mm-hmm. Why ain't none of the officers saying nothing? Mm-hmm. But, as you say, the situation get reversed. You go down the way. Mm-hmm. You looking for witnesses. Ain't nobody got nothing to say. But that's all right.
I had a brother tell me his brother got shot. Man, I ain't getting involved in that, man. I ain't gonna get involved. That's why we can't start a case.
And that's crazy to me. So we cannot expect, if we can't put the murderer in our neighborhood, we know who the murderer is. Mm-hmm. This captain shot 5 people that we know of.
We
talking about what he did. We don't know he did. Mm-hmm. We know, everybody know he a killer, but ain't nobody gonna say nothing. But when the police come through and kill him,
we're a riot.
It's a kill him. And let's just say maybe he didn't have a gun that day, but we know he a killer. And if we know he a killer, 9 times the police know he a killer too. Mm-hmm. But now we want to get upset. We should be clapping. Man, I'm glad y'all got this fool up out of here, bruh.
That's what we say. That's what we say under our skin. Black folk, they glad he gone.
Yeah.
Right, because he was a terror.
It's like,
Right.
but that's so crazy. It's like we
But they
cannot
will riot.
Right,
because of police shot.
and you got to put yourself in that position. Just like y'all have coworkers. Y'all probably have a actually I know y'all have a tighter cohesiveness than the average coworker because y'all playing with lives, each other lives. Y'all got to watch each other back. So I would expect y'all to tell least. Honestly, I just would because I know this is my brother right here. You know, I'm not trying to tell on him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, you know, I know he wrong. I'm like, I don't know. You know.
Well, a couple of months ago, they had the die-in, the thing in Orlando, and this is something that I know you'll support. They were doing a die-in.
Right.
Everybody's
I remember
going to go,
die-in.
and they're going to go die-in. They're going to go lay down in front of the Orlando police station. And some of my, because outside of work, I believe just like everybody else believes.
Right.
But they said, man, you going to come to the die-in? I'm like, well, what I'm finna go down there and lay in front of the police station for?
I wouldn't do that.
Right. Well, what purpose? Well, we're standing up for, at that time, it was the Ferguson thing.
That's a
Right.
peaceful protest, though.
You laying down there and know what the police do?
They walked right over.
And the unique thing, I got it both angles. What they did while they was down there dying in, they had them cameras down there looking at them.
Right.
Let them lay down there in the concrete. Let them all they want to. But there was an Orlando Magic game going on just behind
Right.
the police station. And the word was, as long as they laying down there on that ground, they good.
Right.
Let y'all get up and go disrupt that traffic going back and forth to that game, and we
Right.
got issues.
Right.
Got major issues. And it wouldn't have took nothing but one word.
Right.
And it would have been a riot.
It'd have been, no, it wouldn't have been no riot. It'd have been some going to jail.
But that's what they would have called it.
Come
They would
swoop 'em up.
have called, well, y'all are causing a riot.
Right. Because if you'd have disrupt that money, like y'all said, if they'd have disrupt that money going to that arena, then now we got issues. So you're right. If you hit them in the pocket,
It
you're
matters.
right. It matters.
Which is why again we talked about that protesting, which is why it never makes sense to me, because we never do anything of significance. All we ever really do in protesting, well, the rioting, let me say rioting.
No, protesting also, except the boycott.
All we ever do
It's just like voting.
is
Don't
do
do
it in our neighborhoods. You know, that's where we're at, and that's not where the problem is. You know, and then again, especially with the rioting always goes against the cops that are basically out to more than likely help you. It never goes against the cops that are out to quote unquote get you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like I said, with the young lady that was a cousin to my wife's friend, I doubt very seriously that she's done anything negative on the force, but she's the one that got hit with that rock. And the people that went to the hospital, I think nobody died or anything, but I guess a couple of injuries, about 6 or 7, I think it was. I'm sure none of them have ever had probably a negative record, but those are the people who you're fighting against. And so how is that progressing any movement? Because all you've now done is confirm to everybody on the outside looking in that, well, maybe there was a reason why such and such happened to such and such individual, because maybe he acted in some way, shape, or form like this guy. So it never serves a purpose.
You're going to get that regardless.
I never
Anything
see the
you
purpose.
do, if the parents would have got all, oh my gosh, and it wouldn't have been a riot, see, that's how they be acting. It's nothing we can do except be peaceful. And even if we do it peacefully, they still got something to say about what we do. So it's like, well, what can we do then? We can't riot. We can't peaceful protest. We can't come together accordingly. So what are we supposed? We just supposed to turn around, pray for it, and that's be it, right?
Well, I'm not going to say, I believe prayer changes things.
Right, and that's why in 2015 things the same as in 1988.
Well, that's not true.
No,
Nah, I'm not
no.
gonna
It is not
Black,
the
black
same
people ain't
as
getting killed by the police.
1988.
Black people still getting killed by police, then, correct?
Right.
Because I saw how Nat Turner, I can name a lot of them that they ran up in their house and killed them, just like they
But-
running up on the houses and
But
killing
again,
them.
there's a difference of 1988. I was listening to
Times have changed and
Times have
evolved,
changed, and-
but it's still the same mental brainwash that's going on. And that's what I'm talking. It's the psychological about it, and that's what you're not speaking on. And that's why she was saying the only changes can be made is psychologically, and it has to start from the bottom up. It has to be a whole new Black America within, but without America, and that's the only way.
Well, we're not going to get a new America. You
no,
understand?
we're not
that,
gonna
right?
get a new America.
I said a Black America within.
We're not going to get a new Black America.
Well, I mean, well, then we just gonna have to write.
no, but I think it goes back to you can't compare what's happening in 2015 to what happened 50 years ago,
Right.
60 years ago, 100 years ago. It's not the same.
It's not.
There's a whole lot of the progress that has been made, just in the way that we treat or we even cover the events that happened in 2015 compared to the way they would have covered it in 1958. Yeah. I mean, it's just not even the same. So progress is being made. As far as the numbers that are actually dying, those are different. So it's not the same. There's no real comparison there, you know. And if you just talk to somebody who lived in that time, and I think they'd honestly tell you it's not the same. So there's progress. Unfortunately, there's some things that are still happening. But again, it all goes back to people. We don't live in a neutral society in terms of race. So there's always going to be that individual that exists. Some of them are going to join the police department. Some of them are not even racist people. They just had very bad days. And unfortunately, when they have a bad day, they have a gun and bad things happen. You know, so it's not necessarily always about.
It's just that simple.
That's not about being it simple. Some of it, like I said, some of it is us and then some of it is them. Because if we also change our behavior and collectively, I think we'll see some changes there too. But yes, there just are some bad people. But you're never going to rid the police department of bad people. Just like you're never going to stop your people at your job who are bad, whether you work at McDonald's or Burger King or whatever. You know, they're always going to be bad people. But somehow you're going to have to also, you're going to have to be a little bit different so that when you encounter those bad people, hopefully it doesn't go to worse. But you can't eliminate bad people from the police department. I just don't think that's possible.
Well, one is because when they sign the application, they don't sign their name and then put in parentheses, I'm a bad person. Okay. A bad person is created at that moment. It's just at that moment.
It's not at that. It's people were raped. Like I've heard that people turned in their sheets and got a badge. So it's not like everybody.
Some of them did.
Probably, and that is very true. But my thing is, brothers, join the police force.
No, see, you said something right there. See, you said something right there.
Right.
You said something.
If you can't beat them, you join them.
That's the psychological thing of it.
No.
Most brothers, let me tell you.
Okay.
Most brothers, they try to give you a felony. They try to do something where you cannot join the police force.
Yeah, you can't go to jail now.
Because I have a simple trespassing misdemeanor. Can I join the police force?
Well, let me ask you this question. Did you do it?
Well, see. No, let me tell you what happened.
You don't need to detail.
I got into an altercation at the basketball court.
So you was fighting.
Went to school to try to register.
Was school closed?
No.
Oh.
It was open registration. But they was like, oh, you had a trespassing warning.
Did they trespass you?
No. I ain't had no paperwork. I didn't sign nothing. I didn't get nothing. I just went to jail.
Did you
for trespassing? Like,
well, you got paperwork.
No, I'm talking about when I went to register.
Oh,
not when I got into the altercation at the gym.
Did you fight it in court?
I didn't. I was young and dumb and didn't know. I was 18. I didn't know.
Yes,
I wasn't taught. So that's my whole thing. I got that now. It's kind of like, what can you do?
Do you want to be a police?
I would love to be a police officer. What? Go to Wyndham Ed.
Hey, I would say that if you serious, you just fight. That's 18. You know, you're a lot older now. You try to get it expunged.
Well, that's only one. We ain't going down my
okay, well, see,
then
that's a whole nother problem.
Man.
See, that's a whole nother thing.
But that's it. But if you don't commit a crime, then you don't get a felony. If you don't put yourself in position,
I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not
to be harassed. You
I would love to be a police
harassed.
officer, but I would like to be a detective. I'm not trying to pay the dues on traffic stops. I'm gonna just be honest with you.
No.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't trying to stop nobody.
No.
I don't care.
I'm too smart to be I got to be a detective.
I don't care. I'm serious. Like I would want to find out who killed somebody.
Yeah.
I want to know who robbed somebody. I want to know all that.
I'm with that.
I don't care who's speeding.
You want to be law and order.
Matter of fact, let's say it's not that I don't care who's speeding, but it's not worth my life to find out.
It's just that I'd rather wear the
so
suit.
I'm not gonna put myself in that position. You understand what I'm saying?
Give me the suit, not the officer uniform. I want a suit with the little, Can I be Miami Vice?
You remember when
Bad Boys.
Kings of Comedy. Mm-hmm. About the creed. We live by a different creed.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, I'll be a police officer, but I'm not going to do that right now.
Exactly, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's a process
There
you
is
got
a process.
to go through. I done spent plenty of nights
Yep.
out there on them streets by myself.
Yeah.
So now I can enjoy the luxury of saying, hey, man.
I'm chilling. Right. Honestly, that's what I say. You paid dues.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I understand.
But the thing about it is, and I share this with you, the sheriff's office is always hiring.
Right.
They're hiring. But folk like us, man, I'm not finna go on that street. Or, man, they trying to give me a felony. How they trying to give you a felony? Man, I had dope in my pocket. Well, who put it there? Well, man,
it just appears.
So my
Put on
thing
the
is,
wrong
we
pair
got
of
to
pants.
set ourselves up for success. I
Right,
tell my
exactly.
son all the time, I said, listen, man, you can do whatever it is that you want to do, but there's guidelines to do it.
Right.
You got to work hard. We went to school together. When the last time the police beat on you?
I ain't never caught no whooping from the police
Have been in jail?
once.
Okay.
But it's my fault.
There you go. So my thing is,
None.
you know, and it goes back what the Bible tells us: confess our faults.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can't go to God. I go to heaven, but man, look here, man. I'm telling you, I ain't doing all that now.
Right, yeah.
No, man, it's a process.
I understand.
That's a
But,
process.
you
And
know-
now I'm gonna go run your record.
Oh, Grandma, call up, Grandma. We need prayer on line 1.
But again,
All right, man. Man, we want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. We had a great conversation as usual. At the end of the day, man, we just want to send our prayers to Baltimore and hopefully things get better, man.
Yes,
We'll see you
yes.
next week, 9 p.m. Real Family Talk.
One of your co-hosts, Jeremy, a.k.a. Younger Brother. Tune in next week from 9 to 10 p.m. and every Wednesday from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOKB 1680, your urban empowerment and inspiration station. See ya!
My brother, my brother.
You're listening to 1680 WOKB.